Now let's talk about the variables. Now in this movie we'll talk about the how to declaration of the variables, important aspects, what should be done, what should not be done. And open up your file that says 02 variables, although again I would recommend just type along with me. Now I thought that let's name all of these files as an integer based first file so that it's easy to you to find the files in the sequence that I'm recording these files. So you can see at the line number 5 we are declaring a variable that is automatically out there in every playground. It's a var str equals to hello playground, and you can see we use the keyword var to declare a variable. Then we use the name of the variable, which is str in this case, and after that we use hello playground to put a value of the string inside the str. Again, these kinds of variables are hard to find. You will not find str1 or str2, but definitely let me put another example out here which will make much more sense. And if I say such thing like that, maximum number of attempts. Now this makes much more sense because you'll see this quite a lot. And after that, if I assign a value of 8, this makes sense now, these kinds of variables. Now in fact in the iOS development you'll see these kinds of long strings assigned and inside them having a lot of values and all of such things. So make sure that you keep in mind that we always try to have a camel case. That means every subsequent word will have an uppercase letter, and these are kind of a long variables names that are quite common in development of the Swift. Now variable, when we declare the variable, var is a common keyword in many languages, like in the JavaScript, in the PHP, in the Go. So var has attached a long history. But let me just say that in the Swift, var is the only way by which you can declare the variables. And Objective-C people might be really glad to see that we do not have the @ signs anymore out there in the Swift. And Swift is really a type-safe language. For example, if I say that once you declare any kind of data type inside the variable, that means it is fixed. For example, you can see that the maximum number of attempts is now 8. That means it has an integer value. So once it is set, you cannot change it afterwards. So for example, if I say maximum, or not just like that, maximum number of attempts, if I make sure that it is out there, oops, I really made a mistake in the typing of that. Let me just first fix that. And here it is. And let me just actually copy this one so that we can have that. And if I copy that exactly and try to put a value that is a string out there, let's just say hello. And if I do that, I save that, you can see immediately the Swift is popping me that, hey, this is not allowed. You have already said to me that this value is a type of integer. You cannot change it. You can add to it, you can subtract to it, but it should be integer value. And definitely this should be the case. It allows you, or it helps you to make sure that the values are being correctly put inside that. And yes, we have got all the types of variables which can handle the values, like it can be integer, it can be float, double, string, or boolean, or anything like that. So if I just delete that and if I check something like that, var, and I say is cold or is cool, and I set it to a value of, let's just say true. So this is now a boolean value. And if I say var, and if I say something like this, and or I just say tur, just any random value, random variable names, and I declare it as simply 4.5. And yes, that is allowed. So you can have a string, character, bool, int, float, anything like that. But make sure that you understand the concept of type inference. Now it's only a new word, it's nothing extraordinary. Let's say, for example, if I declare a variable name and I call it just a name. Now, I thought that later on I would provide a value to it. So you cannot do that in the Swift. It is not at all allowed. If I save that, you can see the error is popping up because it says, I don't know what type of value you are going to put into it. How can I reserve a memory for that? So yes, there is a solution for that. It's not like we cannot do that. We have to put a colon out there. And once the colon is out there, what you can do, you can simply put a string and let's just save that, and that's it. Now it understands that whatever the value is going to come inside it, it's going to be a string value. And likewise, you can do the same for that. Like for example, if I am bringing out the marks, I can simply say a simple int. That means I am having an integer. Note that whenever you declare any data type, the subsequent word should have a capital letter, and that's how it is being defined. Although the coloring helps quite a lot, but again, you can have every word should be capitalized. This is how the Swift declares them. Now, a lot of things happens out there. Now, the obvious question in your mind would be like, can I declare my variable something like this? And if I say mark name is, let's just say Kevin. Can I do that? Yes, completely agree. It is allowed. And in fact, a lot of people just do that. But Swift is very obvious language. Now it says that, hey, if the name is Kevin, now it is so obvious that everyone understands that this is a string value. Now you do not need these kinds of words out there. It is already understood that this value is going to be type inferred as a string. So that means you do not need to do that. That's simply as it sounds. Now with that, I would like to also introduce one of the important concept out here, that whenever I need to access any value, let's say for example Tur, I would say just Tur, and that's it. It gives me a value of 4.5, but that is not going to be a case when you're going to build up your terminal application or anything like that. You need to assign a print command out there. So you need to say just like print, and inside that you need to pass on the value like Tur. And if I save that, again, it's a 4.5, but there is a trailing /n there. Now it says that, now previously in the Swift 1.2 version, it used to say that println will give you a print /n out there, but later on it was changed quite a bit, and now we have got just print. But let's say there is a case that arises, I don't want a line break. Why are you giving it to me? Then you have to assign something like this. You have to do something like this. There are a couple of options with the print as well, and I'll call this as a terminator. And you have to assign a value to the terminator, that is a blank value. Now, if I save that, notice that the trailing /n is gone now. So these are the descriptors and the terminator values. This one is the separator. This is the terminator. So this is one way of doing the things around in the Swift. Now with that, I also came to one interesting and kind of a very funny question out there. Let's say, for example, there are a couple of reserved keywords in every language. You cannot assign any value to that. Like for example, if I say var 4 is equals to 3, this doesn't make sense. And of course, it's going to pop me an error. Why? Because 4 is a reserved keyword for the loop. But still, the documentation of the Apple says that, let's just say for some God's sake reasons, you want to have the 4 variables in and you do not have any choice, although we always have a choice. But still, let's say you just want to use them. Let's just say you can put a backtick for that and then you can use that. Now the question arises how to print the values. Again, you have to use the backticks for that. And there it goes. It works fine. No complaining at all. So this is all about the type inference, type safe language, which is a Swift. Of course, we are talking about it. And we learned quite a little bit of concept about declaring the variables. Now here is the quick endpoints. Always declares your variable with the sensible name in the camel case. Of course, they are going to be long, but make sure they are there. We have got all the data types, like we have got integer, we have got booleans, double, character, strings, and all of that. Make sure that you understand you never do this. Try to get rid of that. But still, let's just say you came into a situation where this is not at all even avoidable. Then also we have got this situation. Okay, so quite a lot of talk about the variables. Now let's move on to the next movie.